So good morning, all of you. I'm Dr. Vineet Nair. I'm the Chief Curator of MACSET. So welcome you all to the second day of Industry Academia Conference 2020, organized by the Times of India in association with MACSET and Vedatma, and supported by WebCardio and Lead College of Management. So after the discussions and the deliberations that we had yesterday, today we are approaching with a fresh topic, that is education and empowerment. The morning session, we'll be focusing on education and empowerment. And in the afternoon, we'll be having a session on media, sports, and entertainment. So today morning, we have an esteemed set of panel members. I'll be doing the introduction of the panel members a bit later, but I'll just tell you who are the panel members. We have Dr. Nageshwar Rao, the Vice Chancellor of Indira Gandhi National Open University. Then we have Professor P.B. Sunil Kumar, Director, IIT Palakkad. Dr. Suresh Ramanathan, Dean, Great Lakes Institute of Management. Dr. Thomas George, Director, Lead School of Management. And Mr. Eldo Kuruvilla, Founder, Vedatma. Before we start the proceedings, let me ask the technical team to play a small video on Vedatma. Technical team, please.
Vedatma means self-knowledge. And through this in-depth knowledge of self, we help every student become their best. We guide students through this exciting process of self-discovery, helping them find answers to questions like, who am I? What am I passionate about? What are my skills and strengths? This discovery enables them to make an informed choice related to study, streams and careers that are best suited for them, ensuring professional success and personal satisfaction. How does it work? We identify a student's unique natural potential using world-renowned career assessments. This is the convergence of their personality, interest, and aptitude. These assessments can be done online at the student's convenience at home. After these assessments, the student needs to attend 3 online one-to-one counseling sessions with a certified counseling expert. Parents can join as observers. By the end of session 3, we help the student identify his or her unique potential, which in turn helps in choosing the best fit study, streams and careers. Why us? We use world-class assessments like MBTI and strong interest inventory, which are gold standards in career assessments. Unlike group counseling sessions in schools, we offer individual online counseling. We spend over 6 hours spread over 3 sessions with each student, ensuring a highly personalized counseling experience. Who benefits? Students in classes 9 and 10 to select their study streams in plus 2. Students in classes 11 and 12 to choose college courses. Students in college to select postgraduate courses or their best suited careers. Visit us on www.vedatma.com for more information.
Okay. Thank you, technical team. And with that, we are starting the proceedings of the day. So we have, I'll first introduce Dr. Nageshwar Rao, Vice Chancellor of Indira Gandhi National Open University. So we'll start with Nageshwar Rao, sir. Nageshwar Rao, sir, is, as I said earlier, is a Vice Chancellor of IGNOU. And he was, before joining IGNOU, he was the Vice Chancellor of Uttarakhand Open University. And he was holding the charge of Vice Chancellor of Kumayu University, Nainital, during 2016 and 17. After completing his term as Vice Chancellor of Uttar Pradesh Rajshri Tandon Open University, Allahabad, he was also a Pro Vice Chancellor of IGNOU during the period December 2013 to November 2014. A very learned professor. He served as a professor in Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Institute of Business Management, Vikram University, Ujjain, where he acted as the director of the institute for more than 13 years. And he is also the Vice Chairman of Rashtriya Uchchatar Shiksha Ayog, RUSA, Madhya Pradesh since November 2014. He is a university professor in management for more than 26 years, and he was also a leader in Faculty of Management Studies at Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, between February 1985 to October 1990. It's a privilege and honor to have you, sir, on this platform. And it's a special privilege for me because you happen to be my guru. So with all the blessings, we are starting with the day. Over to you, Nageshwar Rao, sir.
Good morning to all of you. First of all, I compliment this team which has taken this initiative to discuss a topic which is quite relevant to all of us right at this point of time. As far as empowerment of our young generation is concerned, education is the most potent tool, and that is to be properly used. And since we all are representing the field of education, so there is a need to look into it more closely. I was very happy to see that this particular initiative is looking into those aspects which are quite relevant to all of us. Recently, National Education Policy, it was announced. And it mainly talks about that GER is to be enhanced to 50%. It also talks about that our existing curriculum, they should be multidisciplinary. It also talks about that multiple entry, multiple exit. It should also be promised. It also talks about that there should be ABC, Academic Credit Bank. There is a system of credit, and that credit transfer mechanism is also implemented. It also talks about the digital education, online education, and that focus we all have to look into it. Finance Minister has announced recently that 100 institutions, especially the conventional institutions, they will be permitted to go for online programs and without any procedure which is specified for other institutions. It's a great beginning because we do have online regulations 2018 which could not give good results, and by January 2020 only 7 institutions they were permitted to go for online. Hence an integrated regulation, ODL and online, it was gazetted on September 4 of this month, of the last month. But it mainly looks into that how to promote ODL and online. And the integration process, it is already there. What we feel at the moment is how we can contribute by having a multidisciplinary focus in our existing curricula. We are looking at the national education policy and we are also seeing that maybe some government will write to us, then only we'll act accordingly. It is not like that. I will share the way to move ahead. For existing courses, especially you can say called programs, because now we have to gradually shift from program-based learning to course-based learning. BCom is a program, BSc is a program, MBA is a program. But the focus is, once we are talking about the multidisciplinary focus, then we have to look into the courses also. So what we can do is, for any program, let us do the brainstorming. For example, BCom, and you want to add a course on agriculture, you want to add a course on science, and you want to add a course in humanities. Do the brainstorming. And once you identify it, there are 3 or 4 courses which have to be added right at this point of time. Even for BA also, where you feel that they are not employable courses right at this point of time. Suppose if you add 2 to 3 courses, then it may give you the results. You have done the brainstorming, you have identified those courses. Now you have to create infrastructure for that. It may be very difficult for any conventional institutions to develop infrastructure at such a short time. What the government of India has done about it, In 2016, we have got Swayam platform. Swayam platform, right now it is having more than 3,000 courses and more than 2 crore enrollments. 2 crore enrollments. Most of us were not aware about it. We were only aware about the edX and Coursera. And these courses, they have got the range of technology, management, postgraduate courses, undergraduate courses, and the certificate courses also. Even education related courses, teacher education, everything is there. Anyone can register. Age is no bar. Qualification is no bar. So if a BCom person wants to study science, which your institution cannot provide the infrastructure, then you only persuade the person, persuade the learner to register themselves in Swayam platform. They have got an examination system also, because these Swayam platforms, they are in 4-quadrant approach: e-material, videos, discussion, and the evaluation. Evaluation has been taken care of by the NTA, National Testing Agency. After every 6 months, they evaluate the learner's capacity and then they award a certificate also. And that certificate can be used as a credit transfer mechanism by the institution. So now, if you look into it, 2016, again, there was a provision regarding the credit transfer. But most of us, we have not used that facility which is available to all of us. Now in 2020, this credit transfer specification, it has increased from 20% to 40%. More and more credit transfers you can use it, because conventional institutions, they cannot expand the base, because for adding any one subject, they must have 6 to 7 faculties, separate rooms, separate infrastructure, and so many things. Using this framework, which is already with us. Now, if you want to see that this particular India having some e-resources, but India is also having lots of e-resources at the national level. NDL is one of them, National Digital Repository. 4 crore books are available, E4. That can be used. Even our own university's eGyan course is already there. More than 6 lakh people, they have downloaded the mobile app having the e-content. So many institutions, NCERT is now striving hard to prepare their contents in e-form. So material is there. You may ask about the delivery. How those Swayam courses, they are being delivered. For that, there is Swayam Prabha. Swayam Prabha, 33 Dish TV channels are available, free of cost. Even the government of India is trying that let these Dish TV channels, they should be put on some other channels also. Right now it is only on Dish TV. 33 channels. What are the 33 channels? 10 channels, they are earmarked for engineering technology, and they are the delivery of the lectures, it takes place by the eminent experts from IITs. NPTEL. NPTEL is a consortium of IITs, and around 900 courses are there. Then you have got CEC and UGC. They talk about the UG and PG programs. And these UG and PG programs for which the videos they are being prepared, they are not the new initiative. They are the initiatives of 2017. 2017. And now during this pandemic, lots of people, they start looking at these Dish TV channels. Learning at home. So Swayam course, then where the e-material is there. Swayam Prabha, you have got the learning at home, discussion, evaluation, everything is there. Now, if you look into it, then there are 4 specific channels even for those people who want to appear in the competitive examinations, JET and other things. And every day, fresh content of 4 hours that has been put on these Dish TV channels. No need to go outside, no need to pay anything extra, and you will get all the learning. Only in case of the Swayam courses for the purpose of examination, they are charging, I think, 500 or 1000 rupees per course. And the examination pattern is also different. You know that in most of the cases, what we all are doing, our students, they are mostly convenient, comfortable in writing short answer or the long answer questions. And most of the competitive examinations, they are objective type, for which again they do the extra coaching. But this NTA examination, this is being conducted on objective criterion, objective papers. Recently in our online regulations, what we have put is even the pen and paper system that can also be used. Expansion for that, a bigger canvas is with us. Swayam 2016, Swayam 19. Since you know that most of these courses, they are English. So ministry has taken an initiative. Let these courses that be converted to 8 languages. Earlier there was a plan for be converted to 14 languages, but right now on an emergency basis, they are converting this into 8 languages. What is the purpose? Reaching to those areas where the people, they do not understand English. Regional languages, they are being covered over it, including Malayalam is also one of the language, Tamil is also there, English is also there, Hindi is also there, Maharashtra is also there. Since we are also the coordinators of this Swayamprabha channel, so we are also looking into that work. And the deadline is, I think by the November 15 or so, we have to finish this entire work. So now the material is available, the course is available, videos are available in the regional languages. One more thing, since 2016, we have been told that you have to go for academic credit transfer. People were not knowing how to go for it. Then recently AICTE and UGC both, they have done the homework. They started looking at the courses of different institutions and they started matching the courses which are available on the Swayam. So matching of the courses is also available on the website of UGC as well as AICTE. During this pandemic, this extra effort has also been made. And why all these things they have been made? To help our learners. To popularize this e-material, Government of India is also planning to have one nation, one portal. All these e-links of different portals, they will be put at one place. And anyone can look into those facilities. During this pandemic period, lots of people, lots of learners, they started using it. Earlier, in April, edX and Coursera, they came to India and they started promoting their courses. Then the people, they started knowing about our own Swayam platform, which has got 2 crore registrations. Our own people, they got also registered, and they have an international presence also. So credit transfer, multidisciplinary focus, use of these facilities, technology facilities, and in local and regional languages, that will help us to have our courses much more richer, much more employable, and the learner friendly also, and for which we are not supposed to create any infrastructure. Others may just thinking that how to move ahead, but you can become the front runner. Only you have to do the brainstorming. To identify those courses which you have to add to your BA program, to BCom program, or to BSc program. And then only you have to persuade your young learners to go for these Swayam courses. And then finally, once they clear those courses, the credit transfer of those courses, it can be made here. And this is the simplest way to empower our young generation who are willing to get their degrees, but the degrees, they should be valuable also. They should have some relevance in the job market also. And that trust, it is being reflected when we go for this particular proposition. I am just stopping it here because I feel that I should not cross the time limit also. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rao sir. Thank you very much. You had really told the importance of the SWAYAM platform, because I myself have experienced a course on design thinking from IIT Chennai. And I could see that the way the programs are being conducted and the effort that the professors take, the evaluation system is really very robust. And we'll be having questions to you, Rao sir, but we'll just finish off the other speakers as well. So our next speaker for today is Professor P.B. Sunil Kumar, Director of IIT Palakkad. So Sunil Kumar sir, he completed his MSc in Physics from Calicut University in 1987 and PhD from Raman Research Institute, Bangalore University in 1994. He was a research fellow at Raman Research Institute, and he's a postdoctoral fellow of Raman Research Institute. He's a postdoctoral fellow of the Institute of Mathematical Science, Chennai, a postdoctoral fellow of Max Planck Institute for KG, Bonn, Germany. He was an assistant professor of Department of Physics in IIT Madras. He spent his tenure from 1999 to 2004. He was then promoted as an associate professor in IIT Madras, and he worked as a professor in Department of Physics from 2006 till being appointed to IIT Palakkad. So I, on behalf of Times of India and all the organizing committee, welcome you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vinit Nair. And let me first of all thank MaxEd and TOI for giving this opportunity to be with, this enlightened panel here, and also for expressing some of my views and suggestions on how to empower our students through our education. So, one thing which I want to point out is that it was a very nice listening to Professor Nagesh Rao. He's already given a good introduction of what Government of India initiatives are in the direction of spreading education. So I don't get into that. But one thing which we always miss when we talk about empowerment of our students, or empowering students with education and giving them an opportunity for jobs and things like that, is that somehow we always assume that this starts with higher education, and this burden of making students job ready, is somehow assumed to be the job of higher education institutions. I think we're making a big mistake in that. Empowerment should start in schools in very early stages. Because what we see is that, when industries complain saying that, your students are not job ready, what we see mostly is that their complaint is not about the technical capabilities. It is about the soft skills. Students can't express themselves. Students can't present themselves. Students can't write anything properly. And now this burden is not to be really taken by higher education institutions. It should be there in the schools. Our schools should focus our primary education, I mean school by primary education, sorry, in the primary, secondary education, even up to high school. There should be a good focus on languages and mathematics. In fact, I believe if you teach somebody languages and mathematics, they can learn everything on their own. And this is what we should do them. And then when they come to colleges and higher education institutions, they can focus more on the technical thing. And that doesn't mean that we neglect history, we neglect, because everything can be taught through the language teaching, right? Because you can have the reading habit, learning habit, that should come from there. And once students learn that, they can pick up a lot of things. So this is one big problem which I see, because we also, even in IITs, we have this problem. And then we try to give additional courses on soft skills, and the students get burdened because they already are under pressure of picking up a lot of technical things. On top of that, they have to do this. And so there is a lot of pressure on that. So this pressure can be greatly relieved if this is done at an early stage. And it's also much easier to pick up these skills at an early stage Okay, I forgot to mention working in groups habit. Okay, so that is also something that should come from schools itself. And so these are one of the first things I wanted to tell. And so once we do this, okay, then other things can be taken care of. So as Professor Nagesh Rao said, NEP, the new education policy, focuses on making learning easy, okay, and by letting students follow their interests and credit transfers, and finally looking at how many credits they've earned in various disciplines, and then you can have your programs based on that and based on the credits, okay, and instead of following a particular pattern, you give the freedom to students to do that and things like that. So this can be done, okay, provided, but to fill the gap to that, then you need to have this additional skill program. One thing I wanted to say in connection with Professor Nagesh Rao said is that online education is not a complete answer, at least for technical education. So I focus mostly on technical education. Technical education is not knowledge transfer. So while online courses are very good for knowledge transfer, it doesn't allow for many other things. That's what I said, like working in groups thing, and really creating the culture of discussing things, and doing things together. When NPTEL started in 2004, this issue was brought up at that point itself. I was at IIT Madras and I was one of the early people who participated in NPTEL courses in creating some content. And there was a discussion, and then it was very clearly understood that NPTEL, for example, courses are only to aid. So every colleges would run their courses, and maybe the standard of teaching and the material available to the students, of what the teachers are delivering in various colleges in India varies a lot, right? There is a standard with huge variation in the standards. So this NPTEL was envisaged as something to provide that a standard material which everybody can use. Now the students have access to it. They could read that. They could have questions in the class. They could have local groups. But even though it took about 10 years for those local groups to develop, but now it is very well established. Many colleges have these hubs in which they actually discuss. They have NPTEL courses being, a group of students who take a particular course and then they sit and discuss, and then they have platforms for interaction and things like that. So that's the way it goes. So that as an online platform will still serve as a material for standardization in technical education. But there are areas in which online works very well, even in technical education. That is, things like data science and things like that. You can actually do a lot of things online because even interaction can be done, programming things can be done through online. Okay, so there is this, but I'm talking about hardcore engineering and sciences, where laboratories are involved. It's almost impossible to do it, and those components are very, very important too. So, another important point of having connection with the employers and the institution of higher education institution is that it is not just, again, the job of the higher education institutions alone. It has to be done by everybody together. Higher education institution should enable it, okay, and industry should take it up, right? Take the opportunity. In IIT Palakkad, because we are a new institution, we have a lot of flexibility to start things differently. So we, for example, did not create departments. Okay? We have courses, programs. As I said, we have BTech program, MTech program, MSc program right now, and we have various courses under that. We have BTech in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, computer science, etc. But we don't have a computer science department yet. We don't have an electrical engineering department yet. We have all this faculty who are specialized in these disciplines, and they're all together. And the idea was to have this, what I would call interdisciplinary courses emerging. And that has actually happened. Now we have MTech in data science, which is run by 4 disciplines together. Okay, more disciplines are joining in. We have a MTech in system on chip design, okay, which is again done by multiple departments together. We are going to have an MTech program on intelligent collaborative system next year, which will be done by 4 departments together or 4 disciplines together, because we don't have departments. So this has happened because we said that let people not go into silos from the beginning. Let them evolve, and then then we will make these divisions for administrative reasons later. So it is possible. It's possible to do, and we had the platform, and this is much before we started this, much before the NEP thing. But now NEP is making us even more easy for to do this, and we are at least able to do that part of the thing. Another thing which we are starting is to provide a platform for industry to come and interact. So we want to have that platform available, and we already have courses which has what we call open electives, open lab electives. Okay. So where students can take projects as a part in lieu of an elective course. And we think that this can be done with industry. And so, because while undergraduate education has to be broad, even NEP says that it has to be very broad, and I completely agree with that, because when the students come in after 12th standard, they don't have that area, they don't have an idea about what they should focus on. They should be given a broad-based education, and they should be able to choose it. But then the way you can allow them to choose that or get a taste of that is to have this kind of projects. And if they want to go into industry, etc., they can have these projects which can be taken. But the industry should participate. And I see, because I've been talking to a lot of industry, okay, I see, while there are enthusiastic partners who wants to do it, and there is a general reluctance on the part of industry too. They're saying, okay, what do we get out of this? Okay, right? And at the same time, the industry are complaining about employability of students. So, so that is something that there is some mismatch in that. So I feel that if you want to, in technical education, in engineering education, and science education, if you want to make big progress, and also for the country itself to progress in fast, we need to have this strong connect between the people who use this technology and people who provide this technology and people who train in this technology. You have to this connect. And I think we, as higher education institution, what we can do is provide that platform, okay? But there should be takers. So I think this is all I wanted to say at this point. And I would say just close it with one thing which I always say in all such discussions, is that, for a person to succeed, there are 3 ingredients. One is have a talent in identification. You have to identify that talent. I was reminded of this because I was listening to that Vedatma thing advertised in the beginning. So identification of the talent and the identification of talent early stage is very important. The second thing is to put this culture of hard work and learning based on that talent. Right? So people should have that thing. Okay, that is second thing. And of course, third thing is what I say as luck. Okay, so this is absolutely important for people to succeed. Okay, we have many talented people, hardworking people who don't make anywhere because they miss on the third ingredient. So this is what I wanted to say at this point, and I will stop now. Okay, and if there are questions, I can try to answer. Unfortunately, I've been too busy. Many things have been pending. Last week we had a function, so there were many things which is pending. So I need to catch up. So the only reason why I requested the organizers that please leave me immediately after this thing. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.